Hello and welcome. In this video, we're about to decode something that seems absolutely ridiculous. Yogi Vasudev, in his usual audacious manner, claims that he completed a project started by someone named Yogi Sunira. He claims this project led to the creation of the Isha Foundation and Dhyanalinga. Let's take a moment to watch this video.
Many thousand years ago, there was a yogi whose name was Sunira. We believe Sunira was just the next generation after Saptarishis. He lived and worked in the mountains which are presently in Nepal. And he took on an impossible project. Sunira saw that human consciousness could be evolved if you produce a perfect human being who could render this to all sorts of people. In a way, he comes from the tradition of Shiva. Somewhere it's his dream to build another being like that. He wants to build a living Shiva once again, a perfect teacher for the world who is completely multidimensional, not this kind of teaching or that kind of teaching. As Shiva explored the whole human consciousness and human body in every possible way, he wants that kind of a living being. So he started building the energy body for that kind. And then he believed that he could build a physical body on top of that and let him loose in the world with a lifespan of a few hundred or thousand years, so that he will transform the whole world by the time his time is done. So he started working on this project. And of course he died unfulfilled. Down these 40,000 years, many ambitious yogis picked up the same project that Sunira had left and tried to reconstruct.
Thank you for watching that clip. Now, I don't want to drag that video clip on for too long. But listen to this, Yogi goes even further, suggesting that Annie Besant herself tried to build a Shiva using occult knowledge. I'm not even going to dive into that. Let's focus on Yogi for now. It's important for us to ask the real questions. Does anyone here know anything about Yogi Sunira? Has any true spiritual master, any real yogis, ever mentioned him? Has any enlightened being ever mentioned Yogi Sunira? I think you've only heard of him from Yogi or Annie's project. I request you all, look through the Vedas, the Puranas, the Shastras, the history of enlightened beings, and try to find this name. I have a strong feeling that you won't find it, except in the circles of Yogi and Besant. If you can't find this name in the Vedic scriptures or the Puranas, then the question must be asked: why is it not mentioned anywhere else? This yogi supposedly tried to build Shiva himself, a project of such immense scale, yet you don't hear a single mention of it from any other spiritual masters or enlightened being. Doesn't that make you wonder? I strongly suspect that Yogi Sunira and his so-called project are nothing more than a fabrication. I can't confirm whether a yogi, called Sunira, really exists or not by myself, as I don't have all the knowledge of Vedic scriptures. I'll leave that up to the public to decide. For now, let's put the Yogi Sunira aside and focus on the project itself. That alone is more than enough to prove that it's a completely stupid project. Yogi Vasudev claims that Yogi Sunira wanted to create another being just like Shiva. The project, according to him, involved building an energy body using goddamn occult knowledge, finding a human, and somehow attaching that energy body to a physical body of a human, and make that human a clone of Shiva. Then, the plan to set him loose, transform the world during his lifetime. Just think about it carefully. Does anyone really have the ability to clone Shiva? It's absolute rubbish. I don't understand. What is wrong with him? I just can't wrap my head around it. They're actually trying to recreate Shiva using some form of occult knowledge. Do you honestly think any occult practice has the power to recreate an exact clone of Shiva? In my view, all occult practices originate from Shiva. It's like trying to create the creator himself. If you truly believe in recreating Shiva, then let me announce my own new project. Imagine this, an enormous effort to create an energy body, attach it to a physical form, and somehow bring forth walking versions of Vishnu, Rama, and Krishna. Of course, I'll die before finishing it, just like Yogi Sunira. But hey, who needs logic when we're talking about such impossible projects? Now, let's talk about the lies Jaggi has spread about Shiva. He claims that Shiva arrived 15,000 years ago. If Shiva arrived 15,000 years ago, that would mean Yogi Sunira also must be from 15,000 years ago. But at the same time, he says that this project has been going on for 40,000 years. Do you see the problem here? How is that even possible? How can something that started 15,000 years ago went on about 40,000 years? It doesn't add up. If you don't believe it, then please watch a video clip with your own eyes.
A little over 15,000 years ago, in the upper regions of Himalayas, a yogi appeared. They called him Adi Yogi. There was a yogi whose name was Sunira. We believe Sunira was just the next generation after Sapta Rishis. So he started working on this project. And of course he died unfulfilled. Down these 40,000 years, many ambitious yogis picked up the same project that Sunira had left and tried to…
Now, another thing is that he also claims Yogi Sunira is just after Sapta Rishis. Sapta Rishis are million years ago. They are not 15,000 years ago. What he successfully able to convince the people is that Shiva arrived 15,000 years ago and the stupid project continued for 40,000 years, but the owner this project is belonged to age of Sapta Rishis, which is million years ago. Does it make any sense? I request all of you share this truth. Let's entertain the idea that what Jaggi is saying is true. Yogi Sunira arrived just after the Sapta Rishis. Now, we know the Sapta Rishis are from millions of years ago. So, do you honestly believe that a plan that began millions of years ago has continued all the way until today? And that it has somehow been completed by this man, so-called Jaggi? Let's really dig into this for a moment. After the announcement of this so-called project, we had the Ramayana, the Mahabharata. Think about the time of Rama and Krishna. The occult knowledge they had was on a whole other level, far beyond anything we can comprehend. They were divine beings with wisdom that surpassed all. And yet, they couldn't finish this project, but now we're supposed to believe it was somehow left for Jaggi to complete? Forget about finishing the project. Did Rama or Krishna ever even mention this unfinished project? Anything at all? Not a word. If this was such a monumental undertaking, don't you think they would have said something? Don't you think it would have been part of their teachings? Why wasn't it? The truth behind this idea is something we all need to understand. But we need to think logically about this. The original plan itself? It's completely foolish and, honestly, it feels like it doesn't even exist. Yet, Jaggi has managed to build an entire empire around this idea. Jaggi has taken this idea from Annie and built Dhyanalinga, connecting bits and pieces here and there to make it all fit together. I'll be diving deeper into the truth about Dhyanalinga in future videos, but for now, I wanted to convince people that the idea itself is a foolish one. That's why I made this video. If you dig deeper into true spirituality, you'll quickly realize this is simply not possible. It doesn't matter how much you twist the concepts or try to fit them into some grand project, at its core, you'll understand that this goes against everything genuine spirituality stands for. Trying to recreate the divine is nothing but an empty illusion. Thank you. Please share the truth.